Hey everybody, it's me and my shadow. So a company reached out to me called Ammo recently and they said, hey, we'd like to send you this free metal detector. Would you mind doing a video showing people how to use it? And I said, yeah, that's a heck of a deal. And true to their word, a few days later, this Ammo GC-1067 Metal Detector showed up in the mail. And it's the best of both worlds. I mean, it's a free metal detector that they're giving me, which is very generous of them. And it gives me an excuse to go out metal detecting and to shoot a video doing it. And for those of you that have been watching the channel for a long time, you know I like to slide in a few metal detecting videos. I hope you enjoy this. Let's pop open the box, see what we got. Let's put it together and take it out for a spin. Okay, first thing inside, got a carry bag for your metal detector. It's got both your 9-volt batteries to power the machine. Basic instruction manual there. Both of your adjustable shafts for the metal detector. Got a pair of headphones with adjustable volume on that cord. Next up, we got the arm cuff or arm brace. Inside this pouch is a handy dandy little digging tool. You can quickly assemble it like so. Stick her on together, and presto. Now I got the control box. Got your grip and your search coil. Alright, so let's do a quick run through again of the components for the GC-1067. First of all, you got your search coil, you got your grip, you got your arm brace, upper shaft, lower shaft, you got your control box with LCD display, and finally, your headphones. Alright, so you're going to notice that on your grip you've got two quick connects and there's one on the upper shaft as well. It's those guys right there. You're going to take your grip, flip open the quick connect, take your arm brace, and slide it on through. And you'll notice this is adjustable. Be sure to clamp that down. Take the upper shaft, it's the one with the slot down there on the bottom, and then you're going to flip open the quick connect on your grip. Make sure you take the upper shaft and put it onto the grip before the computer is mounted on the grip, because that little slot right there, the pin that holds on the control box, is going to go through the grip and through there. Now take that upper shaft, slide it all the way on back, and go ahead and clamp her down tight. Alright, you're going to do the same thing with the lower shaft, slide it on in there. You'll notice the lower shaft, just like the arm brace, is also adjustable. Adjust it to your liking and then clamp her on down. There, we're about halfway done. Take your control box and go ahead and remove that pin on the bottom. On the bottom of the control box, you'll notice two female components there. They're going to line up with the male components on the rail on top of that grip there. You're just going to drop it in right on top. And these will just lock into place like so. Next, you're going to take that pin, slide it through the slot that's in the bottom of the grip, all the way up through the inner slot that's in the upper shaft, and into the bottom of the control box. Go ahead and get it lined up. Once it's lined up, go ahead and screw it down. You don't need to horse it down, just get it snug. Alright, we're mounted up, so it looks like it's time to put on the search coil there on the very bottom of the lower shaft. On the bottom of the shaft, there's a screw and a nut there. You're going to want to take that nut, just spin it right off. Go ahead and slide that screw out too. You'll see here on the search coil you've got two rails there. Those are going to slide over the bottom of the shaft like so. Get those holes lined up and slide that screw through. And then you're going to take your nut and you're going to spin that back on. Now once you get it spun on there, go ahead and tighten it up. You don't want it so that it's flopping around everywhere, but get it nice and snug, but not so snug that there's no play left in it. Once you got that search coil mounted up, you want to take your cord and you want to wrap it about 4 or 5 times around there. You don't have to get it super tight, but you don't want this thing just loose and hanging and flopping around all over the coil. Once you get it wrapped to your liking, all you got to do is plug it in. This cord is going to plug into and then screw down onto the plug that's on the back of the control box. Get those holes lined up and plug it in, then screw it on down. Just get it snug, you don't have to horse it down. Alright, all you got to do is plug in your headphones, make sure you got your two 9-volt batteries plugged into the back of the control box, and we're ready to go detect some metal. Alright, we made it out to the park here. It's a fairly remote spot. Wanted to come out here because won't have too much interference from people and too much noise, hopefully. Not a lot of targets in this park, but I have found old silver coins, Indian head pennies, wheat pennies, a few relics, buttons, all the good stuff. So it's out here, but there's also some modern change and your typical trash scattered everywhere too. So I figured it's a good spot to test out this machine and just give it a go and see what the ammo can do. Also, the coil on this machine is waterproof. Now, you don't want to submerge the computer, the control box, in water, but the coil itself is waterproof. And another reason I want to come to this park is because that away there is a creek, and I found stuff in that creek too. I'm going to unplug this just so you can kind of hear what the machine sounds like. Power it on, you're just going to push power. All right, we're powered up. Now, switch the modes here. Obviously, you've got volume control. If you hold on volume control for a couple seconds as well, it'll pop on the backlighting for the LCD screen, which is a nice feature. You've got your sensitivity on and off, your pinpoint, your mode, and then these little plus and minuses help you cycle through the menu. So anyway, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose my mode. Now up here, these are all the indicators of what modes are selected. Right now it's an AM, which stands for all metal mode. You've got discriminate mode, you've got memory mode, and you've got jewelry mode. And then it's back to all metal mode right there. So all metal mode is going to include the iron. If I were on a Civil War battlefield, I'd want to have that on so that I can hear my bayonets, my musket barrels, my cannonballs, that sort of thing. We're not on a Civil War battlefield. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch down to, and just show you real quick, discriminate mode. I can actually push the plus button and manually remove each one of these at a time. So I've removed iron from there, and I can, if you see here, I can keep taking away modes till we get up to like your precious metals like silver. If I wanted gold to stay in, I'd keep it about right there. Actually about right there. That's going to include gold down here on your low range, and it's going to include your high range in silver there. But anyway, in the mode, that just shows you can do a customized mode here, which is pretty nifty. The next mode that you have is memory mode. I haven't messed with this at all yet. This is the first time to use the machine at all. But memory mode, I could put like a quarter underneath the coil, for instance, and it would memorize that signal, that metal type, that tone, that shape, and then the machine is only going to try to sound on that type of target. Now, I'm not going to mess with that today, but I just wanted to show you that because I thought that was a cool feature. Now we've got jewelry mode, and jewelry mode basically just takes away your iron, and that's what we're going to hunt on today. This will give me the full array of precious metals, from gold to silver and everything in between, like copper, and of course all the trash stuff like aluminum, tinfoil. But if you turn off that stuff, then you won't hear your gold. And this is just going to take away the iron. It also gives you your whole array of American coinage, most countries' coins, in fact. So I'm going to be able to pick up nickels, dimes, pennies, zinc pennies, copper pennies, and I'm also going to be able to pick up the half dollars, the whole dollar coins, that sort of thing. All right, I'm trying to think if I've missed anything. We'll kind of explain stuff as we go, as I learn the machine as well. I did forget something here. Sensitivity. If I click on sensitivity, you can see those bars flashing down there. I can move those up and down with the plus sign. That's max sensitivity. Down there is your lowest sensitivity. I'm going to start off on about second to highest sensitivity. Yeah, that's second to highest there. We'll leave it right at there. Sensitivity just is basically how deep the machine is going to be able to detect. All right, I've got a decent repeating target here. You can see it's flashing these two lower icons most of the time, 43, 47 numbers associated with those two icons. Pull tab, canslaw, nickel, zinc penny, all those sort of things are in that range there. All right, so I'm gonna press pinpoint. It's ready to pinpoint. You can hear the, all right, it's about right there. You just press pinpoint again to turn off pinpoint. Obviously you can hear the louder and higher tone it gets, the closer you are to the target. It's about right here. These are always just estimates by the machine. On most machines, by the way, it's not going to be perfect. Appears to be an entire army convoy driving by us in the background. All right, we've got most of the plug out there. Might be in the plug still, or in the ground. Lost the target, potentially, but that's what our pinpointer is for. Getting a little... Oh, it is in the target. Or pardon me, it's in the plug. I see something shining, and we have some can slaw. So that's about what the machine was indicating, is that it was in that range there. Some potential targets in that range included can slaw. Cool. Got a slightly higher tone. Now it's bouncing that indicator in the screw top to zinc penny range. All kinds of other trash targets that could be involved there, but it's nice higher tone on the machine compared to the last target we had. Nice repeating signal. Let's move the coil away from the ground and pinpoint. Oh, played a little song there. A little song of discovery. Kind of like that. All right. Target has still remained pretty much locked onto that indication area of identification on screen, which is good. Appears to be in the plug. I forgot my gloves, by the way, in the car. I'll get them later maybe, but you should always wear gloves when you're doing this sort of thing. Oh, I think I see the target. All right. It does indeed appear to be a smashed screw cap, which is exactly what the machine said it could possibly be. Having fun. All right, so I didn't record this because I was getting an identical tone and target indicator from the last one I just showed you, and I cut a plug, pulled out a piece of can slaw, covered the plug back over, and then re-scanned my hole. You always want to do that because sometimes there's multiple targets, and in fact there was the same signal still in the hole. So I flipped it back out, and I was able to locate this chewed up zinc penny. Zinc pennies rot in the dirt, and that's what's happened to this one. But that's my first target, or my first coin, with the AMO GC-1067. Pretty cool. Now, I'm not trying to make this an instructional video about how to metal detect. That's for a whole other video, but it's important when you're using any machine, your sweeping pattern. You want to keep that coil level to the ground. This is very important with any metal detector, and the AMO GC-1067 is going to be no different. You want to get some nice even sweeping. You don't want to lift the coil up on the back swing of each swing. You want to keep it level all the way like that, and get a little overlap if you can. I don't try to walk too fast. And metal detectors all have different recovery speeds, so I don't want to sweep this thing back and forth lightning fast because it might miss some targets. Adversely, I don't want to go too sluggish because it might not pick up a target very well. You want to have just a nice even sweeping motion like that, and with every machine you kind of got to learn its target recovery speed, meaning when it passes over a target, how quickly the machine responds with a beep. So I'm still kind of learning that with this machine, and it's got a fairly quick response. Actually, it's quite quick. There's a nice little target right there. 77. It's flashing up there in your copper penny range. A lot of trash targets that can be in there. Screw tops, can slaw, pieces of copper pipe, all kinds of things. But that's a really, I'll let you hear that because it's a nice high tone. That could be a zinc penny. course, I'm unfamiliar with this machine and what some of the numbers might generally indicate. That just takes time and repetition, but that's a really nice target. Let's press pinpoint, wait till it stops flashing. Boom, it's ready to pinpoint. Okay, I seem to be right over the target. Push it again to stop. Let's cut a plug. And in fact, it is the top of a smashed beer can, it looks like. That nice round shape right there, that's going to give a good signal bouncing back at the machine. So that's one of the reasons why it gave such a nice, consistent target indicator and tone. All right, I've got my first really high reading of the day on the machine. I've only been out here for about half an hour so far. Hear that nice high tone, 87, 88, 89, and you can see that very last icon right here is going to be the one flashing when I've got motion in the coil. That's going to be up there in your quarter range, dime, silver quarter, silver jewelry, and it could also be like a big brass washer. It could be copper connection for some electrical stuff. You just never know. Could be a big piece of aluminum pipe, but it's a nice one, nice tone. Oh, I see it, it popped out. Boom shakalaka. Got a clad quarter, it looks like. All right. Woo! Might be more in there. Potentially, no? All right. I'm pretty pleased with that. Oh, I was just about to start telling you something, but I'm getting a nice zinc penny, can slaw, beer can signal right there. It is. Hey, popped out a coin. It's not the best signal, but I'm getting some repeats. Yeah, I think it's a deeper target, which interests me. That is pull tab, I believe. Yes, it is. An extra small one, actually. Nice high tone. 78, 79. All right, it's a screw top. Wasn't the wheat penny or memorial penny I was hoping for, but again, this target is well within reason to find in that target range. I don't have the headphones unplugged right now, so you can't hear this, but it's just every 5th or 6th sweep I get a little high tone beep. Let's see if the pinpointer can pick it up. Get it activated away from the target. All right, looks like that's gonna be somewhere under the coil right there. Maybe it's a deep coin, that'd be nice. I think I kind of felt it. Oh, I think I see iron. Yes, I do. Oh, this is a good target. We got a relic here. All right. We've got a buckle, I believe. An iron buckle, sure enough. Let's go. First relic with the Ammo GC-1067. Now, iron buckles, they don't They don't preserve too well a lot of the times. They're heavily oxidized like that one is. There's the tongue to the buckle. It would have flipped over this way, but that's probably some old horse tack or something like that. Yeah, nice. Nice deep target. Yeah, that was... Now, again, I should mention I'm in... I've got the iron switched off, but that doesn't mean machines will still pick up iron sometimes, especially if there's something big or if it's got a good shape to it like that. That's just going to send a nice signal back at the machine. And sometimes when you've got the iron mode turned off, it's still going to send that. It's going to come through. And that's exactly what happened there, and I'm sure glad it did. That was probably... It was kind of more in the side there. I mean, that was 7 to 8 inches deep. Just came up on a really nice signal. At least so far, it's really nice. Hitting high 80s, low 90s even at times. That could be silver coin, big old chunk of pot metal. Ford Model T hubcap cover. Well, you never know. Let me let you hear that real quick like I am. Nice repeating consistent signal. Let's pinpoint. So it's about right there. And it wasn't, the pinpointing wasn't screaming really high. So it's probably a little bit deeper, which is a good sign. Potentially deeper. Oh, I hit something. That could be a big chunk of iron. It kind of felt like iron. First plug is the deepest. Target though, I'm pretty sure. You can see something right there. Nope, just a stone. Oh, it came out. That's it. What do we got here? Some kind of heavy piece of brass. Yeah. Piece of a broken brass pipe, possibly. That's a nice target. Don't know what it is, some kind of junk, but nice big heavy piece of brass. Real deep. That was probably another 10 inches. All right, we've arrived at the creek. I think we're going to try to go in. It looks low enough I might be able to get in there and do some searching. I'm going to go back to the truck and grab my rubber boots and grab my gloves, although since we're going to be in the water, they really won't be as much use to me in there, but I'll be right back. All right, let's give it a whirl in the creek. We got a heavy shale layer on this creek, so a lot of the targets are probably going to sink down super deep, so they might be hard to recover. But I am getting active signals right now. Looking for a good repeater. I can already tell you, I'm going to have to come back here. I left my glasses in the car, but wow, I'm probably going to come down here and look for some arrowheads, although I can see somebody already tracked through here this morning, so I'm betting somebody's already been through looking. This is a really good bottle dump area as well in here. I've found a lot of good bottles over the years. Most of it's 40s and 50s. Maybe you'll come across some cool stuff every once in a while. You might be seeing on camera. Ooh. Got a repeater here, I think. You might be able to see on camera there's lots of glass shards and stuff laying around in here. I think there was something on the surface that I kicked out of the way. Getting a double beep right here. Nice repeating signal. 76, 77, 78. Okay. I put the shovel, well, let me try to pinpoint. About right there. Stick the shovel in. Tell you what, since this is not waterproof, I'm gonna set it up on the bank, and so I'm used to using a fully waterproof machine and just dropping it in the water, and I don't out of habit want to do that with this one. So let's leave it there. Pinpointer's waterproof. See if we can recover our water target. How about that? Yeah, it seems to be locked onto something right there. Let's let some of the dust clear from that. Let's see if I can see it. Oh, we've recovered the target. I think I see it. There it is. Yeah. Chunk of some kind of metal. Looks like the housing off a motor or something like that. But hey, that is a target recovered. Water target. Sweet. Alright guys, that's going to have to do it for now. The video's running on longer than I had intended for it to, but I just want to thank Amo and Katney at Amo. Thank you for reaching out to me and working with me, get me set up with this cool metal detector. I genuinely had a good time with it. I've metal detected for 14, 15 years, and this thing is a good machine. Especially, I think if you're just getting started and you don't want to spend like $700-800 on a high-end machine just to figure out if you like metal detecting or not, this one's affordable and it really works. So thanks again. Check out the links in the description below.